Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard is a philosophical exploration of the concept of reality in a world saturated with media and technology. Baudrillard argues that we live in a world where reality is no longer based on real objects or experiences, but instead is a representation of those objects and experiences created by media and technology. The book is divided into 4 sections, each exploring different aspects of simulation and the loss of reality. In the first section, Baudrillard introduces the concept of the simulacrum, which he defines as a copy of something that has no original. He argues that in our hyperreal world, the simulacrum has become more real than reality itself, to the point where it is difficult to distinguish between the two. He uses examples such as Disneyland and the concept of the Wild West to illustrate how simulations have replaced reality in our culture. The second section of the book focuses on the idea of symbolism and how it has been replaced by simulation. Baudrillard argues that in a world where everything is a simulation, symbols lose their meaning and become just another part of the hyperreal landscape. The third section deals with the idea of the hyperreal, a term Baudrillard uses to describe the state of being in which reality and the imaginary are indistinguishable. He uses the example of the Gulf War to illustrate how the media's portrayal of the war created a hyperreal version of the conflict, which had little to do with the actual situation on the ground. Finally, the fourth section explores the idea of simulation and the end of reality. Baudrillard argues that in a world where everything is a simulation, there is no longer any need for anything beyond that. He uses examples such as pornography to show how even the most intimate aspects of our lives have become part of the hyperreal landscape. One of the main takeaways from the book is that the distinction between the actual and the simulated has become blurred, to the point where it is difficult to tell the difference between the two. Baudrillard argues that we have reached a point where our reality is no longer based on anything tangible, but is instead a simulation of reality created by media and technology. Baudrillard's ideas have had a significant impact on contemporary culture, particularly in relation to the internet and social media. Many have pointed out that the curated, filtered, and edited versions of ourselves that we present online are examples of the simulacra that Baudrillard describes. Additionally, his ideas have influenced the development of postmodernism and critical theory, and continue to be studied and debated in academic circles today. Through the lens of entropy, Simulacra and Simulation reveals how our increasingly simulated world is ultimately destined for decay and collapse. Until then, like and subscribe for more content.